It's officially the offseason for the NFL, and that means mock drafts are upon us. And today we are going to be doing a mock draft for the New York Jets, a 2-round mock draft for the New York Jets for the 2026 NFL Draft. I made a mistake in the thumbnail that I put saying 3-round mock draft, forgetting that the New York Jets do not have a 3rd-round pick this season. So we're going to be doing a 2-round mock draft today. We're going to be doing the pick 2, pick 16, and pick 33 today for the New York Jets. And just to clarify, this mock draft, this first mock draft that we're doing this offseason, keyword there first, because we're going to be doing multiple here on the channel leading up to the 2026 NFL Draft. However, again, to clarify, this first mock draft is not going to be based off solely opinion. There's going to be a mix of opinion and, just reality, what I think the New York Jets might do with these 3 picks from rounds 1 to round 2. So we're gonna have a little bit of a realistic approach to this mock draft, as well as some opinionated to it as well. So let's get right into it. We are going to start with pick number 2. As you can see, we are on PFF using this today for the 2-round mock draft here for the New York Jets. Let's enter the draft room. So the Raiders officially have the first pick. They select Fernando Mendoza, as I feel like everyone's expecting. And we have a lot of options here. We have a lot of really good options here. However, in my very first mock draft, which is what I think the most realistic option is, at number 2 for the Jets, is between these two right here. Between Ruben Bain, the edge from Miami, who has everybody looking at him because of his sheer power and sheer dominance, and Arvell Reese for the same reason, as his pure athleticism and his pure power. And in my first mock draft, I have the New York Jets going with the Ohio State guy. I have him going with linebacker/edge Arvell Reese due to his athleticism, due to his power, due to his ability to quickly get off the ball and get into the backfield. I think that's what the New York Jets exactly need right now. If they want to get an edge right now in this draft and get a guy that can play maybe all 3 downs for you, maybe a 3rd down even as a linebacker, if you want to put him as a linebacker and have Will McDonald step in as your predominant 3rd down defensive end. I get that he struggled a lot last year in coverage, but again, I have a lot of confidence that he could fix that up heading into his rookie season, and if not, we'll just have to wait and see. But in my opinion, I think Arvell Reese is the pick for the Jets at number 2. So we're going to go with Arvell Reese there at number 2. A lot of these guys getting off the board, and this is, again, we have a lot of good options to work with. You have Jordan Tyson, which is very intriguing. And then we have another guy down here, Denzel Boston, which is very intriguing as well. We also have, Caleb Banks, who I feel like wouldn't be a terrible idea for the Jets to get, especially because all of that depth they lack in the interior defensive line. Jawan Briggs, I will say, had an amazing season last season. Arguably the Jets' best player on defense. Harrison Phillips as well. He did pretty good last season. But again, Phillips is in his mid-30s. Jawan Briggs, who knows? Maybe he'll be a one-season wonder in the NFL. So, and even then, he didn't really get that lot of recognition. So that's why I do think the Jets are going to prioritize interior defensive line in this draft at some point. In my opinion, though, I don't believe it's going to be in the 1st round because they are going to go wide receiver, I believe, at pick 16. Maybe they could trade up to get Carnell Tate somewhere in the top 7. However, I do not see that happening. I do see them waiting at 16 to get a receiver, whether that be Jordan Tyson, which, in my opinion, I think he'll be off the board earlier than this, which is why I will go with Washington receiver Denzel Boston, just solely of the fact that his great contested catch ability that I've seen over the course of last college football season is something that the Jets need to match with a speedy slot receiver like Garrett Wilson. If you're going to feed Garrett Wilson, if you want to have a successful offensive season, if you want to have a good receiver core in the NFL, you need a mix match of both types of receivers. You cannot thrive in the NFL. Well, you can. I wouldn't say you could thrive. Defenses are going to catch on quickly and are going to play to those weaknesses, of course, of not having a contested catch receiver. Defenses won't be as overwhelmed is really what I'm trying to get to here. with if there's just two types of the same receiver on the ball. If you guys get what I'm saying, you need a contested guy to get those safeties and to get those cornerbacks deep down the field to worry about your slot guys who can get the ball on those slants and digs or whatever offensive scheme the offensive coordinator is calling, which is why I think Denzel Boston is the perfect pick, or is a perfect pick for the Jets at 16, because I think Mekhi Lemon could do a pretty good job of that as well. Denzel Boston, 6'4", around 208 pounds for a receiver. That's pretty big. That's pretty hefty for a receiver. So, and I really like that, because the last time the Jets really had a contested catch guy was Mike Williams, and he was only around for 6 games, I believe, and he didn't really do that great anyway. So we're gonna go with Denzel Boston to give Garrett Wilson some breathing room here at 16. We're gonna go wide receiver here, and we're gonna have our last pick coming up very soon here in the draft at pick 33. Let's see if we can go with quarterback here. We have a lot of good options to go with. Drew Aller, I think, in my opinion, with the hiring of Frank Reich, Drew Aller, I believe, has a very high chance of going to the Jets, just not at pick 33. However, I could totally see them getting a quarterback here at pick 33. And it might just be this guy right here. Listen, I get it. He got picked by the Browns here, right? Okay, he's not on the board, but this is the guy that I was looking for to be here at pick 33. This was the guy I was looking for, right? Ty Simpson. Now, in my opinion, I don't want the Jets to get Ty Simpson. I don't want the Jets to get a quarterback in general in this draft class, really. I mean, sure, the cons to not getting a quarterback in this upcoming draft is Aaron Glenn's going to have to suffer with not having to build a quarterback in year 2. And Aaron Glenn cannot afford, to have another bad, inexcusable quarterback season, or else he's fired. And on the other hand, if he drafts a quarterback and doesn't really have a great season with them, he has an excuse to head into year 3 to develop that quarterback, whether they start the rookie or start the veteran that they're going to sign, because I do believe the Jets will sign a veteran. Aaron Glenn will still have an opportunity to build that quarterback heading into year 2, I believe. So at some point, you got to think the Jets are going to draft a QB here. And if you have a guy like Ty Simpson on the board, I believe they're going to get him. But for this case, and again, like I said, he got drafted by the Browns on here. We're going to go with that. We're still going to go with Ty Simpson here at 33, right? Of course, you have my main concern with Ty Simpson is him either going to the Rams or the Steelers. If the Jets were looking to get a quarterback at 33, if Simpson was gone in the first, he's going to go to the Steelers or Rams, which are the only two teams I feel like are, guarding Ty Simpson from going to the New York Jets at 33. So that's a little bit of a knot there, right? They're getting a little bit tied in a knot with Ty Simpson there, with potentially either going to the LA Rams or to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who I believe are most likely going to draft Ty Simpson if Aaron Rodgers decides not to come back, or even if he decides to come back. I believe they're going to draft Ty Simpson to develop him into their future starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Ty Simpson is my official pick at 33. I get he's not here. If I had to go with a quarterback here, though, it'd probably be Garrett Nussmeier, just because I feel like he's the most NFL ready. I feel like he's a big-bodied quarterback, which is what Frank Reich likes. So just for the sake of it, we're going to go Garrett Nussmeier. But however, just keep this in mind. Ty Simpson is my true pick for pick 33. So we're just going to click Garrett Nussmeier here. You know what? I'm fine with either. Nussmeier, in my opinion, shouldn't go that high if he were to go to the Jets. He shouldn't go that high. However, the Jets need a quarterback in this draft, and I believe it will be Simpson. We are now at pick 44. I totally forgot the Jets had this pick as well in the Quinn and Williams draft. Just got here again after, stopping the recording before that to get to this pick. So again, just to clear things up from pick 33, I do think there is a route the Jets go quarterback there. It'll either be Ty Simpson or Garrett Nussmeier if they were to go quarterback. Chambliss, I believe, is the best quarterback out of those three. However, I don't believe he fits Frank Reich's offensive scheme, right? Reich always likes those big-bodied quarterbacks to lead his offense, hence Carson Wentz. Or Anthony Richardson, right? So I don't think they go the Chambliss route if they were to get a quarterback here. This is just to clarify. If they were to go to quarterback, they'd either go with Garrett Nussmeier, right, from LSU, which, again, in my opinion, I don't believe he should go that high. In no world do I think Garrett Nussmeier is first pick of round 2 worthy. No way. I believe he's a round 3 quarterback at best, right? So I believe Garrett Nussmeier is a round 3 quarterback. The Jets will either go, but if they had to pick a quarterback, I believe it either be Nussmeier or Ty Simpson, right? And Ty Simpson, for me, is a little more preferable than Garrett Nussmeier, just because of the fact that I feel like Ty Simpson is more comfortable in the pocket, and I feel like he'd fit Reich's offensive scheme better. So we are at pick 44 now for the Jets, and this is where I actually go with the defensive back route. I still think they're going to get an interior D lineman somewhere in the draft, right? But I think they have to prioritize their defensive backs more. So with all of this being said, the guy that stands out to me most is A.J. Halsey from LSU. I think he had a great season last year, right? So A.J. Halsey, he overall graded 86.6, and these were his all of his stats last season. 66 tackles, 19 assistant tackles. However, 16 missed tackles. That seems to be a bit of an issue, right? I get it. He's a safety. He's mainly a pass. He's mainly in pass coverage, but 16 missed tackles over the course of 12 games. That is a little concerning. However, I think Halsey has the biggest ceiling out of any of these guys as a second round safety. I think Halsey is one of the best safeties at this entire draft. I think he's one of the most underrated players in this entire draft, which is why I have the New York Jets going with AJ Halsey, at pick 44. Again, I'm going to do so many other mock drafts, so we're going to see how many of these guys fit with the Jets' defensive and offensive schemes, and how much I would like to see them in the green and white. Because like I said, not all of them are going to be solely opinionated. A lot of them are going to be based on realism and opinion. So, and this one was, I would say, a good mix of both. So, we are done. We are done, ladies and gentlemen, with our first 2026 mock draft 1.0. And okay, we are ready. We are ready for the New York Jets this upcoming season. And in my opinion, I think it's going to be another disaster season, as it always is. I don't see the Jets getting past 5 wins this upcoming season. But let me know your guys' official first mock drafts. I get this one wasn't perfect. PFF was kind of messing with me a little bit. Last night I did a little test run on PFF, and at pick 33, Ty Simpson was available, so I was assuming that he would be available here as well. Unfortunately, he was not. Had to, work around some adversity a little bit. I did tell you guys that I would prefer Simpson over Garrett Nussmeier. However, it says Nussmeier at pick 33 on our mock draft, when I would really have wanted Ty Simpson really over him. But anyway, let me know your thoughts below, guys. Let me know who you guys think the Jets will be getting in the first and second round. Whether they get a quarterback early, maybe they go Ty Simpson at 16. Who knows? That I will say that is going to be in one of my mock drafts. I don't want that, but I think that's another option that the New York Jets could go for at pick 16. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below, what you guys would do in the draft. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that like button. If you are new, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Goal is 400 subscribers come this upcoming September for the 2026 NFL Draft, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out, Jet fans.